made a little bit of progress. I'll catch you up real fast before it gets dark. Sun's going down outside. Did a couple cool things maybe you can get some ideas out of. And as you can see, we got the doors on. They're just roughed on right now. So they're mounted on, but there's no hinges, no handles. I got to run the lows, and I still have to take them back off, and I'm actually going to trim out around these perimeters right here with Luan, which if you don't know what Luan, it's basically really thin, like finished plywood. A lot of times they nail it down over your subfloor in your house for linoleum to go over. That's the reason why when you have a linoleum floor in like a kitchen, you don't see the texture of the plywood or the texture of like actual wood, because there's Luan down. So it's like super thin. I think it's like 1/8 of an inch or less. Yeah, no, it should be about 1/8 of an inch. Anything less would probably be too thin. And it's smooth, so it's cheap, thin, smooth, it's not expensive. I'm gonna get that cut strips as wide as the 2x4s and basically trim out all the perimeters over top of the 2x4s, so we then can finish nail them on and then have some smooth wood to paint, and it'll go in really nice into the plywood over here. It'll kill into that, where we can then run a bead of caulking down it, and then our doors, we'll take them back off and we'll smooth them all out, sand them, roll the edges, put wood putty over them, sand all that out, and then paint them black. So we'll keep the trim of the around the cabinet gray with the wall, and then we'll do the face of all the cabinet doors black. And like I said, the front half will have wood down. So we got our other cabinets up on the wall also. So let me flip the camera around and show you where I'm at. First off, we got our cabinets mounted up here. Like I said, decided to go up high with them. We have our power strip up here, which nothing's plugged in yet, but it's there. And what we'll do with that is we'll run a cord out, and we'll probably snake a cord down right there where it'll probably drill, and it'll go into here, and it'll catch a plug down there. That way it's not tying up none of the plugs up here. So I don't have no shelves in them or anything, but I have them attached to the wall with some brackets I made, and then underneath all I did was drill some holes in the top to put some screws in, and then come down here and put some finished boards, trim boards up there, so they're screwed into the wall that way, and then screwed down also. So these things are nice because they have the latches, and then like I said, I can go in here and put shelves in there. And the cool thing about having them like this also with this exposed bottom, so I purposely also did it where I left the screw head out on this side, because there's only a screw on one side of each cabinet. So I made sure that the end cabinet had that on, because that's a threaded insert. So we can hang like a hook or something if we want to on there. We can thread it in for whatever reason. But then one thing I like about down here is you have this inset underneath here, and then you got threaded holes right here where the casters were. So I left them like that. That way, if we want to attach a bar or something underneath here, we might build a bracket maybe, and that bolts into here, and it comes down with a bar that goes across to maybe hang the fire jacket, fire suit on and stuff, if they'll fit between here height wise. If not, you could do whatever you wanted underneath here, whether it was lights or like I said, put some kind of clothes hanger or something under there that was tucked up out of the way. So just thinking ahead on that. Sound bar from inside the garage, we're actually going to mount it up underneath here, so you're not seeing, so you can have a little music if you want it up here, and it's all off of Bluetooth. And then of course we're going to get some kind of strip lights or something on here. Started attaching the back. The back is the trailer skin, basically just flipped upside down on the white side, and went to do some trim boards. I wanted to do aluminum stripping that I had, this thin aluminum stripping, but the problem here is the way the trailer's built is the plywood stops like here and here, so there's really nothing to get a screw in straight. So you'd have to go really wide with an aluminum piece, and I don't really have that. I was trying to use up scrap to build this trailer since we're on a budget, so I decided just to trim it out with some of this stuff that I've already gray washed, and put some screws through it. So when you walk up, it looks nice, and all this is going to get trimmed out with aluminum after we do the Luan. And so I trimmed out this side, and then all this will get painted black. So all of this frame, no, this will get painted gray to match the wall. Maybe that one might get black. This one gets covered with Luan, and then the inside might actually be black. So I'll figure it out. Like I said, this is getting Luan where it's all getting painted gray. So I'm just going through and trying to work on this. This cabinet, originally I intended for the door to be as wide as the cabinet, but again, I'm building this on a budget, just like anybody else would in their yard or their backyard, whatever. So after I did my plywood doors, and cut the plywood up. I actually did not have enough to do another one, so you'd had to go to Lowe's, buy a sheet of plywood. And I think this stuff's running like about $50 right now. So we all know how expensive wood is. So I just took what piece I had, you know, and that's the width I had. So I just added me some more 2x4s and just basically moved them in. So, you know, the cabinet now has a little tuck area in there, but I mean, it still works. It's still a cabinet, you know, and I'm working with what I got so we can stay on a budget and not put an arm and a leg in this trailer. We'll put shelves in there, like probably one shelf, because I'm thinking this will be perfect for like jack stands. Probably not gas cans, but probably leave them out. But like jack stands would be nice in there. Maybe the jack, you know, I don't know. Maybe I could do 2 jack stands on that side, and then maybe a race jack. I don't know. Ain't figured it all out yet, but I know that's all the face of that's getting covered with Luan. Did these back here. I feel like this is pretty cool. So I'm either going to paint the face of these all black so that this is all black, and then that's all black, and then the walls will be all black, the bottom, so it blends in, or I might leave these shiny aluminum. I just don't want it to be ugly where there's like shiny aluminum just kind of standing out, but also don't want it to get scratched all up and chipped up. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about, not painting it. But we're going to come in here on the inside, and I think I'm going to bed line all of this with like a 2K bed liner. It's going to be nice and solid. I'm going to take caulking and caulk up all the seams. But I built these boxes so you can get these things like from Pit Pal, you know, where you can get them where you put chairs in, like fold-up chairs or your fold-up table or gas cans, okay? And then you strap all that to the walls. So I have tie-downs that will screw into the walls once we figure out what we want, so you can run a little bungee cord or whatever across them to keep stuff from moving. But I put one on both sides because I see too many people's trailers where stuff's just flopping around all over the place and they're not maximizing their storage. This is a little trailer, so we're packing this thing out. But to make these, you know, anybody else would have to go buy diamond plate and weld it all up, you know, because it has an aluminum bottom in it. Everything's welded together, besides the brackets on the ends right here. So these brackets are just screwed in and riveted together, and then on the face down here, I just cut it back a little bit, left it a little long, and then just riveted it to the face. So like I said, we still have to paint all this back out again. So riveted that. But what that is, here's some leftovers. There's what it is. So you can do this at your house, especially because you can pick these things up for pretty cheap. So that's a toolbox. All I did was cut the bottom out the toolbox. So I took the bottom, cut the bottom out, and then cut it to the widths that I needed on both sides. That leaves me with this piece right here now. And as you can see, this toolbox was a little bent up, but I beat all that back straight over there. So this piece right here, I'm almost thinking about putting gas cans in here and maybe putting this up here by the door. So take this one, and that toolbox is just sitting there, but maybe we should put this one up here on the floor, and that way right inside the door is your gas can, you know. So I imagine I need to get the measurements of one because I don't know what a racing gas can is, but you could fit, you know, one gas can at least, and maybe a lawn chair, probably just one gas can, one or two inside there, right inside the door. Or I might not do nothing with it right now, you know. I might also cut it back where it's also shallow, and maybe attach it to the wall as a cubby, even though we did buy, if you're new to the channel, you know, in the other video we went over all of these Pit Pal accessories basically that we bought that's going to go on the wall after everything's painted. So we bought a couple. It's knockoff Pit Pal. It's not Pit Posse. Yeah, I think that's what it was called. And I'll show that again when we go to mount it. You know, but this should be really nice for your lawn chairs, your tables, gas cans, jack, you know, whatever you can fit inside them boxes. And like I said, they'll get all caulked up where it's beautiful afterwards. Now the toolbox, one of my faults that I had for this toolbox right here is if you see how the lid sprung open. So I was thinking about basically picking this thing up like this, bringing it in here, and screwing it to the wall right here. So that when it's closed, it's like that, but then when the lid opens, it's like that. And then we can put aluminum inside the lid so that it's flat like a tabletop. So for laptops or lunch or eating or whatever, you have a fold down table, plus you have that thickness of storage. So your plywood would basically, let's see here, your toolbox would basically screw to the wall like that. Okay, so you would come through here and mount your toolbox to the wall like that, and that's how far it would stick off the wall plus the door. That way, whenever you opened it up, you would now have a tabletop. Plus, what you would have is that thickness right there. You would have storage, so you could even put a long shelf in there, and I mean, you could fit all kinds of odds and ends in there, whether that was like maybe the kitchen supplies, forks, you know, plates, paper plates, cups, you know, whatever, or I mean, just whatever, man. You could technically, you can put drop cords in there. I mean, whatever you wanted to possibly do. So that was my thoughts on that. Or I have a thick sheet of aluminum that we might literally just build a tray around it and have it where it folds up on chains and it folds down on a piano hinge. That would be really clean, but it doesn't create no storage. The only thing I'm afraid of by doing it like this, I can get rid of the Cobalt emblem in the top, but I'm just afraid that when you open up the trailer, it might look ghetto, like you literally screwed the toolbox to the wall. Even though it's functional, I just don't want it to look, you know, too trashy. Even though my whole thing is like on a budget, utilizing what you can kind of get your hands on to build stuff out of, because you don't want to, you can buy like locker style cabinets and stuff, but the stuff is just flat out expensive, y'all. I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. So we're just trying to make some things work. So I don't know if I'm going to use it or not. That's definitely does not have to be done right now. I would definitely like to get the walls painted and everything. And right here where this piece is, we're actually going to run a wide, like 3 or 4 inch board that's maybe like a ½ an inch or so off the walls. But so that's where I'm at. Figured I would just update y'all real fast. I'm going to keep getting at it on the small stuff, and I'll catch you up when I get some stuff done. All right, so it is Saturday around 2 o'clock, and this is where we're at. So I went to Lowe's this morning, picked up some like Luan. It's not exact, it's kind of like Luan. Basically, Luan normally is for the floor. It has little X's where you put your nails at. So I didn't quite want that, so I got, it's just, then I guess like finished plywood. But got that and trimmed everything out. So I have ripped down a bunch of strips, you know, to all kinds of measurements. Made this piece one piece so it goes up and over. All my nails are sticking out. I'm gonna have to set all of them tonight and then sand everything down and finish everything. I was just trying to get the sawing work done during the daytime because I can do everything else at night. But yeah, we'll be able to put our 12-volt switches in there. So trimmed all the edges out, so now you don't have no exposed ugly 2x4s no more. Did our wall boards up here. So down the center, took tongue and groove flooring actually, and ripped it down, because if you go back to the first video, one of the first videos on the trailer, I said, you know, that I had a buddy who owns a flooring business. I used to own a flooring business, but I don't have no stock left. But he had gave me a bunch of that. So what we did is on the tongue side, or the female side, I actually ripped this groove out. So this is going to get a thin light, LED lights in there, so the bottom of the walls light up with LED lights. And then on the top, if I decide that I don't want to leave this groove right here, which I was going to rip the tongue off, but decided I didn't want to, because when I ripped the tongue off the bottom, as you can see, that fits perfect in there. So what this will allow me to do is I can now run a bead of caulk over this right here with my finger and caulk this to the wall, and it will give it this nice little design right here on the edge, so that it's just not so boring. So instead of ripping that tongue off and making square, I wanted to have that little edge in there basically. So basically, you know, that other piece sits right back there like that. So you'll just have this piece showing after all that's caulked in. So that should look really good. And then, like I said, we can add the LED lights to the underside. So cabinet doors, I haven't 100% decided what I'm gonna do yet. I got some latches and hardware at Lowe's today that I'll go over later on. But yeah, last night we mounted a toolbox in here. So I had used some aluminum 90 and drilled them down, screwed them down to the tabletop, then sat my toolbox in here, screwed it through that way, and put 2 screws on each side so that this toolbox don't go anywhere. So I decided to put it there. Putting it over here, it stuck out too far with the lid open so that it worked, so you'd had to cut the lid off to make it work. And this hides everything back here, but still allows you to get to the plugs obviously you plug something in. Now across this top right here, I'll still probably make a finish board, you know, but that way when the toolbox lid is up, you don't see anything, you don't see the plug, and then when it's down, we'll have a finish board, you still don't see no plug. So it kind of hides the plug back there and puts the toolbox there. It kills some space, I know, I hate it, but I didn't really want to put that thing in the cabinet where you're pulling it in and out all the time. I kind of wanted one small toolbox on the top. But yeah, and the more I think about this cabinet too, I think I'm gonna leave this thing open, just completely open. I know in John's trailer there's one like that, and it's good for tall skinny gas cans or jacks, like I said, jack stands or whatever. So I think I'm gonna leave that one open with no shelf. I can always add a shelf to it later. So I figured I'd just update y'all real fast. That's where I'm at right now, Saturday at 2 o'clock. I think I'm gonna take a break and then get back at it. All right, that is a wrap for tonight. So it is 11 o'clock. I still gotta go home, shower, or go in, shower, clean up, edit a video for y'all. Story of my life. We got the trailer painted out though, so that's kind of exciting. Got everything brushed out for the most part. Got that accomplished tonight. I hand brushed everything so that I could get more paint into the wall. So this wood's a little older, so it has all the little cracks in it and everything. So I hand brushed everything out so I could really make sure all the cracks got filled in instead of just using a roller. I'll flip the camera around and show you what I got real fast, but tomorrow we hope to trim out this wood on the wall black. We do some more caulking. Got to do the, let's see here, the strips right here to cover up the cracks. I got to rip them down, paint them, start on the cabinet doors, get them painted. Hopefully can get them on. Haven't made no progress on the outside of the trailer still. Just been on the inside of the trailer all weekend, but at least we're making progress in getting the inside where it's pretty much ready for the car. So let me flip the camera around real fast. And tomorrow we have to get the winch mounted. We have to get the winch mounted under there and the jack hooked up. That is one thing I was meaning to do, so I've got to get it done. But at least now the walls are painted, so we can start hanging some of our pit pile stuff up, and we can actually start organizing some stuff. So we're gonna come in here and trim that out. We'll probably put I got 2 extra sheets of Luan in there leaned up against the car. As y'all can tell, I take real good care of my stuff. I'll probably put some Luan back in the roof. But yeah, I mean, like all this where there's black right there is black caulking. It's just still too wet to go over top of. So all of this up here should be good to go. Just put the doors on, get the doors painted, get them all done tomorrow, recaulk that joint, paint that joint. I got to get some more caulking. We're going to run aluminum. So we'll run aluminum around all of the edges here. We got to pick up some aluminum this week for that back corner, and then we'll come in here and probably clean up a lot of this stuff. We got to make a pocket here so stuff don't fall down out of this shelf. But little stuff like that, once we get the door done, then we'll finish the door out. So we're not going to trim the door out. I let my trim sit back. You can see now that the trim's on here how it's caulked all up, and we don't have that extra, you know, groove like I was talking about. So it looks messy with the cameras up that close. But now we'll come in here nice and neat, trim that all black. And then the boxes for the chairs and the tables, I'm thinking about cutting me a piece of aluminum and possibly putting aluminum on the wall to protect it a little bit. I don't know, maybe at least just a little piece of aluminum down there. I'm not 100% sure yet. I didn't paint all that down in there. I could do that later if I want to. And then these are gonna get, I need to rip the caps for this. So this is gonna get caps, and then I also need to rip the 45s tomorrow because this is gonna get a triangle from like the top of the door right there up. So this is, hopefully, my plans is to get a triangle, to hire all the wiring, and to put lights in on both sides. The thickness of that cabinet and that cabinet are both 10 inches. So it's equal. So we could do a triangle from the edge of that cabinet like this all the way down, and then we can do it from the door all the way down this way. And I thought about just rattle canning out the ceiling white. Should have done that before I painted all the walls and put everything in here, but I don't know. Might also just leave it alone. It's just a ceiling. But yeah, make them caps, and man, we're wrapping up. We gotta do something with the floor, y'all. So haven't decided 100% what I want to do with the floor. I wanted to put the rubber coin floor down, but Randy just did, I think, like 30 feet, and it was like $800-900 for rubber coin flooring for like 30 feet. Mine's only probably 17 feet or so, but this is a budget build, so I don't really want to do that. So I'm probably going to do some kind of epoxy paint, with the spackles all in it. Maybe not epoxy, maybe just normal paint, chunk of spackles down in there. I have a bunch of spackles at the shop, but I might figure that out tomorrow. I need to sand all of the floors, and I got the other tie down today, or 2 tie downs actually. So I need to drill holes and mount the 2 tie downs, and if we have to do any welding on the trailer, maybe get Mike to weld it at the shop. We also got to come back and trim out all of the edges around there with either aluminum or wood, and all the edges around the floor I'm probably going to just caulk up. So I'm going to go get a bunch of caulking in the morning and probably caulk all the edges. That way when I paint the floor, I can go up to it, it looks good, and then we'll just trim around these boxes. Right here, we'll just put trim around them, but that way the floor is all a nice bead. Because I'm not a fan for how, you know, when they come from the factory, they have all this wood ran all over the place. I'm not a fan of that. So all I want is a couple strips to cover up the joints. Thank God this wall's just got one here, and then this wall actually only has one here also, and then it's got one underneath there. So it won't take a lot. So we'll be able to rip them in the morning and then just brush them in on the wall. Walls look kind of, you know, they're drying out. So, but yeah, I mean, that's we gotta do the shelves in here still. You know, last night I spent some time putting some tools in toolboxes, but now once we get the winch, we definitely need to do the winch tomorrow, and the jack and the floor tie downs, so this thing could take a car if it needs to. And then we really need to get the outside metal done, but piece by piece. So that is probably going to be a wrap for this first part. I'll catch y'all up on the final part, whatever I make progress on. I might keep the trailer home Sunday night also. Tomorrow's Sunday. We're off Monday, so I might keep it home Sunday night and work out here Sunday night also and take it back Monday morning. Either way, it's going to be gone for July the 4th. I'm going to clean up July the 4th morning and hopefully wash and wax the car. Hopefully. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch you on the next one.